morning.
All right, now that we know that a red notice has been issued against the Guptas, what does it mean? What is a red notice, Sindisiwe, in layman's terms? Is it in effect an arrest warrant?
So essentially, Interpol is like the world's police. So different, like South Africa is part of Interpol, and various other countries across the world form part of Interpol. However, other countries, such as parts of North Korea, do not form part of Interpol. So what this essentially means is that arrest warrants have been issued in part by Interpol. It means that if they appear in any of the countries where Interpol has a footprint, they will be arrested and then held there. However, once they've been held there, South Africa will be notified as to, we have the people you seek, do send an application for extradition. And then once we've done that, then the ball will begin in earnest in that particular country. Because what we're essentially saying is, even though we have started the process of extradition for the UAE as well as India for the accused, Atul Gupta, Rajesh Gupta as their wives, and several other business associates, we're not blind to the fact that they could be in other parts of the world. So hence the need to speak to Interpol and bring our application, which we have done, and now red notices have been issued to that effect.
So does a red notice act, does it act in jointly or in concert with a treaty or an extradition treaty? Okay,
so just to explain this briefly. So when you bring an extradition request, for example, for somebody who is in Dubai, you bring the extradition to that particular country using the multilateral agreement, which was UNCEC, the United Nations Convention on Corruption, which was the first avenue. The second avenue, if there's a treaty in place, you will know that South Africa has since entered into a treaty with the UAE. However, it only becomes in effect on the 10th of July of this month. So a couple more days to go. Then you use the bilateral. But if that one is not there, then you use multilateral, which is other organs or institutions that you could have used, that the two countries would have been part of, or many other countries could have been a part of. So when you bring in Interpol, Interpol then assists as international police to say, if the person is not in these two countries, and they do then travel to, for example, the US. When they travel to the US, then we're saying, please arrest them. Then you hold them there. Then we bring our application to the US for extradition, because that will require a different extradition application. So what this essentially means is that they've been red noticed, meaning they've been flagged in all of the jurisdictions which Interpol has reached.
Okay, so in terms of their properties or assets, is there an indication that their properties or assets or maybe bank accounts will be frozen after issuing this red notice alert?
In June already, the investigating directorate, working with the NPA's asset forfeiture unit, already received an unlimited restraint order for the Gupta brothers, as well as their wives, in relation to a particular case, which forms part of the Bloemfontein case, as well as Iqbal Sharma. More particularly, assets in conjunction or in connection to Islandsight, the company that we brought the application to in the Bloemfontein High Court. So that has already been issued, meaning that their assets, which are part of Islandsight in South Africa and those abroad, do already form part of that freezing order. But what we must also emphasize is you cannot freeze assets that you're not aware of. So Islandsight could possibly own other assets which we're not aware of that are currently in whatever country that they're in. So until they are actually arrested and until they're actually extradited back into the country and fully disclose what assets, additionally to the ones that we know are owned by Islandsight, we cannot rule that out.
So what checks then are done before a red notice is issued, to ensure that it is complied with the rules and to ensure that the violations of the affected person's rights are not, or the rights of the affected persons are not violated?
For starters, with extradition or red notices, first and foremost, there needs to be a case against these particular people which would like them to come into the country to account for. For extradition in particular, that we had already done via the multilateral before the treaty was actually signed by the UAE in South Africa. We were requested to first have a case against them, meaning a case or an indictment brought before a particular court in our country, which is the country we want them to come back to. Additionally, warrants of arrest for the accused in the country in which we require them to come back to. So those two have been compiled with, and we've actually sent that through to the UAE and India. However, additionally, with the Interpol process, it's the same two documents, additional documents that we've sent to them to show that these people are not suspects. These people are not people we are still thinking about charging. It's people that we've actually essentially charged. We just need them to come and stand with the other accused and formally be charged in the country.
All right, Sindisiwe, great chatting to you. Thank you so much for joining us. That was the NPA Investigative Directorate spokesperson, Sindisiwe Seboka, just giving us an update on the red notice that has been issued against the Gupta family. And in relation to that story, also cross back to the Bloemfontein magistrate